everybody, welcome back to Zindee. So today we're going to do a keychain start to finish. We're going to do the cereal bowl 3-inch. We're not going to use any like real glitter today, like loose glitter, but we are going to use the transparent glitter adhesive vinyl. So I'll show you some ways to use that as well. The software we're working with today is Silhouette Studio. We do have business edition, so we are able to open the SVG. Just a reminder, in order to open the SVG, you need at least designer edition. So if you only have the basic edition, you will only be able to open the DXF and it will not be the correct size. You'll have to resize it. So make your life easier, I promise. It's so much better just to at least have designer edition. It's a one-time fee, and then you can use the SVGs, and then you'll be able to just open them and get to creating. Okay, so let's go ahead and click Cereal Bowl 3-inch SVG. We're going to open that. It'll look similar to this whenever you open it. First, we're going to go to our page and we're going to go ahead and fill this whole area up. I want to have the whole 12 by 12 area to work with. So media size, we're going to do auto 12 by 12. Most of the vinyl we're working with today is the full 12 by 12 sheets. Okay. So first things first, let's go ahead and move this over here out of the way. We're going to right click and we're going to ungroup it. Okay, so that just makes it where we can pick the individual pieces and move it around and manipulate it to what we want it to look like for the final product. Okay, first thing also, after ungrouping, let's go ahead and delete the hole. So if your acrylic has a hole in the file, go ahead and delete it. It's way easier. If the hole likes to move around, it makes it a lot harder to line up your acrylic if you cut it with the hole. So you will thank yourself later. Just delete the hole and then we'll poke through the vinyl after. You can get a really nice clean finish doing it that way as opposed to trying to cut the hole and lining it up perfectly. Okay, the next thing is we're going to take this back piece. Okay, it's usually black in all of the SVGs, but it is the exact size of the acrylic. Okay, so ideally you don't want to cut this unless you're prepared to take an X-Acto knife around your acrylic and cut off any extra that's overhanging vinyl or anything like that, because keep in mind this is exactly like 100% exact the size of the acrylic. So unless you place it like all the way accurately, you're gonna have some overhang, and if your machine doesn't cut completely accurately, you're gonna have some overhang. And ideally you like to have a little edge or anything like that. If you're using resin, it gives an edge for it to adhere to. And then also, if you're not using resin, if you're just using vinyl, the vinyl will last a lot longer if it's not going all the way to the edge, because it's not getting hit or rubbed constantly at the edge of that acrylic. Okay, for this one though, I do want to use this piece, but I need it to be a tiny bit smaller so that it will work properly. Okay, so we can't just take it and make it smaller. You're going to lose your proportions. It's going to look all wonky and it just won't fit perfectly. You want a nice, clean, finished piece that looks correct. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put an offset on it, and what it does is mathematically makes it just a tiny bit smaller or larger. Okay, so you have an offset which is larger, or you have an inset which is smaller. Another term for the inset is an internal offset. So you might see different terms used, but basically it's positive or negative, bigger or smaller. Okay, so we're going to click this piece, and then we are going to go to our offset panel, which is this little star right here. Another way to get to it is to right click and you'll get it that way. If you right click your image, you can get to it that way. So we're going to pick what we're going to do in offset. And as you see here, there's an offset, which will make it bigger, or there's an internal offset, which will make it smaller. Okay, so we are going to do the internal offset. As far as size, anywhere between like 0.01 to 0.03 is a good size to use. We'll probably use 0.03. And I mean, this will vary based on the acrylic and how you want it to look. I just want a little bit of an internal offset. I'm actually going to do 0.04 for this one. I lie, actually. I'm going to do 0.05 and then it'll be closer to what this is. So you won't have any glitter border edges, okay? So we're going to do 0.05 and we're going to go ahead and apply, okay? So now when you move this piece, this one is a little bit smaller than the blank itself. So this is the piece that we're going to use to cut, okay? So delete that. Now we have this, and we are applying this. This is going to be the transparent glitter adhesive. We are applying this to the back of the acrylic. So I'm going to go ahead now and flip it horizontally so that it's ready to go to the back of the acrylic. So I don't have to worry about mirroring or anything later. It's already ready to go. Okay, so that's step one. We got that done. The back of our acrylic is now finished. So let's go look at the other pieces. Okay, so I will be cutting this little spoon, and I want to keep that little accent mark. I'm not going to cut it a different color. I'm just going to weed it out of my vinyl so that you can see some of this glitter behind it. Okay, so we're just going to move that together. I'm going to go ahead and right click and group it so it stays together. One of the best things about Silhouette is you don't have to do anything special for that to cut. You can just leave it just like this. You don't have to alter the file, nothing like that. I'll show you in the send area whenever we get to that part. So this is all you need to do. We're just going to move it away, and then we're going to cut that. Just like that, okay? And weed that little piece out. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick the purple Cheerios, and we're gonna move those out of the way together. So we're gonna move these, and we're gonna go ahead and group those so they stay together. Let's do the green ones. Group them and move them out of the way. All I'm doing is taking the things that are gonna be different colors and keeping them together and moving them so that it's easy for me to pick what I want to cut and when, okay? Instead of trying to pick all of these little pieces, I'm just going to take this big area and I'm just going to move that away so the face is together. I am going to choose the whites of the eyes. We're going to move those down here. I'm going to change the color of them just so they don't get lost. Just to gray. It doesn't matter what color they are. It only matters what color vinyl you're actually cutting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and group that. And then we'll go ahead and move her little cheek accent marks out of the way too. And we're going to group those. Okay, now here, I do want, if you can tell, I don't know if you can tell on your screen completely or not, but there's 3 different colors here. There's the white for the milk. There's this darker teal turquoisey color that's like the shadow of the inside of the bowl. And then there's the actual bowl. Okay, so I do want this darker teal turquoisey color, okay? So I'm going to select both of those pieces, and I'm going to click Command C and Command V. I'm on a Mac, so that basically is just copy and paste, okay? And if you notice, there's some of this blue like showing down there, and I really don't want that piece. So I'm just gonna move this milk down a little bit so that when it cuts it, it's not gonna have this little bitty skinny thing right here, because the only thing I'm worried about is this, okay? So we're gonna select this, we're gonna group it, and again, in Silhouette, there's nothing special you have to do. It's just easier to pick the pieces and then just weed it out the way you want it to look, rather than altering the file and doing all kinds of weird stuff like that. Okay, the other thing I'm gonna do now for the cereal bowl, I'm just gonna delete that shadow because I don't need it now. It's already down here. We already have it being cut in a different color. And I'm gonna leave the milk just like it is because I'm just gonna weed that out because I want all of that to show the glitter of the transparent glitter background. So I'm just gonna select it all and I'm gonna group it so it stays together. Okay, so we are done. We are ready to cut, okay? So from here, we're gonna go to send. Okay, so depending on how familiar you are or aren't with Silhouette, I'll just give you a few tips and tricks. So everything that's red right now will cut, okay? So it'll cut this little accent mark, it'll cut this, it'll cut everything that you see is red. So there's 2 ways to go about doing this. You can cut one color at a time, and you'll just load your mat for each color. Or you could set up your mat and put a bunch of different color vinyls on your mat that correspond with where it's located on this mat. Either way is perfectly doable. It just depends if you want to take more time setting your mat up or just take more time loading and unloading mats, okay? For me, I'm going to just go ahead and load and unload mats since most of my vinyl is full sheet, so I don't have a bunch of scraps I'm working with or anything like that. If I was working with scraps, I would probably just lay all my scraps out and then move these pieces to the corresponding color of what I'm cutting. Right now, I'm just moving everything out of the way so it's easy to see what I'm working on. for each thing. Okay, so now I'm going to select it all and I'm going to put no cut for it, okay? So that I know that it's only going to cut what color vinyl or what I'm ready to be cut. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut the transparent glitter adhesive first. I usually like to put everything in this top left corner. That's where I always put my vinyl. I always make sure there's vinyl in the top left corner. It just is how I always do things. There's no right or wrong way to do it. That's just my method to my madness. So I'm going to click that and I'm going to click cut. Okay, so right now whenever I load my machine, the only thing that's going to cut is this. Is the only thing that has cut lines. It's going to ignore all of these things because there's no cut lines for it. Okay, for the transparent glitter adhesive vinyl, I cut mine with the blade at 2, the force at 10, and the speed at 5, okay? So from here, we're gonna just go ahead and send it to our machine. It might ask you if you wanna mirror it. You don't need to mirror it. We've already flipped it horizontally, so basically all we have to do is cut it, okay? So we'll cut that, but let me show you what would be next, okay? So you don't have to listen to all the cutting and wait for all of that. So we would move that out of the way. We would turn the cut lines off for that and say we want to cut the cereal bowl next, okay? We would take our cereal bowl, we would move it to the top left area, we would pick cut. Now only the cereal bowl will be cut. I'm not worried about this being a different color because I'm not keeping that, okay? So it literally will cut exactly what you see, and then I'm gonna weed out the center of that so that it's just an open area, okay? So let's pretend we loaded our mat, we cut our cereal bowl in whatever color we decide to cut it, and now we're ready to cut the next thing. I would change that to no cut. I would move it out of the way, and let's say we want to cut her face now. So we would move that over here. We would change this to cut, and then we would send that to our machine. All the other things I'm cutting is not going to be in transparent glitter. Everything else is going to be in regular Oracle 651 vinyl that we sell on our site, Zindee.com. The settings for that would be just like this, except the blade will be at 1. So your blade will be at 1, your force at 10, and your speed at 5 for regular Oracle 651. Also, our printed adhesive vinyl works really well with that as well. If you're cutting any kind of printed adhesive vinyl from us specifically. Okay, so you will just go through it, cut piece by piece, load your mat, pick your colors, and then at the end you'll have all these pieces, and then we'll be ready to assemble it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and then I'll catch y'all at the work table, and we'll actually go ahead and put all this together, and we'll show you a finished piece. All right, guys, see you in a minute. Hey everybody, okay, so we got all of our vinyl pieces cut. So let me show you what those look like. We have to weed them still. Okay, so first we have our transparent glitter adhesive vinyl. So just a reminder, this is going on the back of the acrylic. So we got that weeded. We have our cute little spoon. I ended up cutting this one in a silver metallic so that the spoon really had that metal look to it. Okay, so that's weeded. Okay, and then we have our cereal bowl. I ended up going with a shimmer adhesive for that. So the shimmer adhesive, the silver metallic, both of these you'll cut with the same settings as the transparent glitter adhesive. So your blade at 2, and then 10 and 5. Okay. This one is very thick, so getting it started can be easy. It can be hard sometimes. Okay, so that is the cereal bowl. Look how pretty this vinyl is. I love it. Okay, and then we have some cereal. This is a fluorescent orange vinyl. Okay, I got some more. This is a fluorescent pink. Okay, then we have the little eyeballs. It's probably the hardest part of the whole thing to weed because they're so tiny. And that's why cut settings are so important. Things should be easy to weed. If not, 9 times out of 10 is actually just an old blade if you're using like the same settings that you normally do. So just make sure you're changing your blade often. A new blade makes a world of difference. Okay, this is her little cheek accent marks. And then this part is that shadow part of the inside of the bowl. So we're gonna actually weed this part out like I showed you in the software, because all we want is this part, okay, the little accent part. Okay, so there's all of our pieces. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our transfer tape. I like transfer tape that doesn't have a backing on it. This is our StyleTech transfer tape. It is on the website, Zindee.com. Okay. We're just gonna roll that out. And we're gonna place all of our pieces face down on the transfer tape. Let's see, there you go. Cut this extra off. Okay, so we have all of our pieces face down on our transfer tape. We're just gonna cut that off, roll that up, get that out of the way. We're gonna turn this over. We're gonna take our squeegee, super important, and we're gonna just burnish this vinyl really well just to make sure all the vinyl is sticking to your transfer tape. If you have any small pieces, it's a good idea to take this little corner part, especially like their eyes, and do that. Oh, and 1 second, we are missing our little face. Let me get it really quick. Okay, here's our little face. I left it on our cutter. Okay, we're just gonna weed that. We're gonna place it on the transfer tape right here. Go ahead and burnish that as well with our squeegee. Okay, and then from here, what we're gonna do is just cut all these pieces apart. This doesn't have to be perfect at all. You don't have to cut the transfer tape all the way to it or anything like that. Actually, having a little bit of overhang makes it easier to remove the transfer tape. Okay, now from here, you're basically gonna think of it as a puzzle. Okay, so we're just gonna put all the pieces together. All the vinyl we're using is permanent adhesive vinyl, so you do not have to seal it or anything like that. It's permanent, waterproof, it's ready to go. So all the vinyl we're doing today is permanent, waterproof, adhesive. You don't have to do anything special. You don't have to seal it. It's totally up to you if you want to add a finishing sealant on it or not. Okay, so first thing, let's go ahead and apply the transparent glitter adhesive to the back of our acrylic, okay? So we're gonna take the protective paper off. You can use your weeding tool. You can use an X-Acto knife to get it started. One of the most important things is try not to touch your acrylic or touch it as little as possible. The oils from your hands can make the vinyl not stick as well, and then it's a lot better to not get bubbles and stuff if you don't touch the acrylic, okay? All right. So from here, we're going to take our backing, this is our transparent glitter, and we're just going to roll the backing paper off. It's always best to pull the backing paper away from your decal and not your decal away from the backing paper. It will help tremendously for bubbles, okay? And then we're just going to line this up. And place that down. Okay, we're going to take our squeegee and work from the middle out and just burnish that. Then we're going to take our transfer tape and we're just going to roll it down, pushing the vinyl down as you're rolling it down. Okay, so there is the back of the acrylic. That part is done. So it looks like this. Super nice. Okay, so we're going to turn this over and we're going to go ahead and put together the front of it, okay? Now you can see how super glittery the acrylic is with the transparent glitter. I literally love transparent glitter. This is the silver hollow one and is definitely one of my favorites, if not my favorite. The silver hollow looks the same on back and front. The other ones will be brightly colored on one side and like slightly colored on the other with like a silvery sheen. The gold one will be gold on both sides, so it looks the same on both sides. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our largest piece first. So we're going to do our actual cereal bowl part first. Same thing, turn it over, roll the backing away. And we're going to line this up onto our acrylic. Okay. Take our squeegee, burnish it, and we're going to roll that down. And keep in mind, if you ever get bubbles, you can usually pop them with a pin, or you can just sit it in the sun for a little while, and usually those will just dissipate on their own. Okay, so we have our shimmer adhesive on there. So let's go ahead and put our spoon. Actually, not our spoon next. We got to do our little shadow mark next. Okay, so same thing. Turn it over, roll the backing paper away. And then this part goes here to really give it an accent of where the bowl starts and stops. Okay, roll that down. Super cute already, you guys. Okay, so now here we're going to take our spoon, and like I said, we weeded out that little accent mark, so you're going to get to see the glitter through that. And then we're going to put our spoon here. Whenever you have vinyl that's overlapping like that, I like to take my squeegee and use the edge and really mold that around the other vinyl. And then once you remove that, I always go back with a fingernail and just really get that to adhere. Okay. So far, so cute. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do our Cheerios. And again, there is no right or wrong way to do this. You can put them wherever you see fit. So we got some neon orange ones. Do our pink ones. Let's do these two right here. Let's do some yellow ones, and then I'll put that last pink one on. So cute. Okay, I'm just going to go back with my fingernail and really go around that just to get those adhered really well. Perfect. All right, so we have our Cheerios, we have our spoon. Now we just have our little face that we need to add. So here we go. There's that part. And again, remove the backing paper from the transfer tape. Ended up doing the little cheek accent marks the same as this little shadow, just to kind of incorporate all that together. All right, and then we have our little eye accent marks. And that's it. That is a finished little bowl of cereal. Let me show you how to go ahead and poke through that hole before we add any resin. We will add some resin just so y'all can see how it works. But let me go ahead and get a tool to poke through that. 1 second. Okay, so these are bead reamers. I have a link to these on our affiliate link, our Amazon affiliate link, which you'll find in the description down below. These are amazing for poking through the hole. Okay, so first we're just gonna find where it is in the front and back. And we're just gonna make a little mark. Okay, and we're just gonna go all the way through so we know where it is front and back. Then we're going to take the bigger one and we're just going to put it in there and twist. Okay, basically it's just sanding off any of that excess vinyl. Same for the front. And you'll just keep doing that until it's nice and clean. You can use the smaller one just to go around and make sure any little pieces are out. And I'll show you in a second up close how it looks. Super nice. Super clean, perfect circle. Didn't have to worry about lining this piece up with a hole and that piece up with a hole. Just makes the whole thing much, much simpler. Okay, let's go ahead and put some resin on it because, I mean, it looks amazing with resin. But again, you totally don't need to. You can leave this just like it is. It'd be good to go. All of this is permanent adhesive vinyl. It's made to withstand the elements, to withstand outdoors, all of that stuff. So you are good to go to leave it as is, but we are going to resin it. So let me get all of that stuff. All right, my dears, let's resin this thing. Okay, so first we're going to get our silicone mat. We're going to put it on there. The reason why we love silicone mats is if any resin gets on it, it easily just pops right back off. So you're not ruining anything. Okay, so I'll go a little closer so you can see really what I'm doing a little bit easier. We do have silicone plugs if you're nervous about getting any resin in the hole. They look like this and you basically just put that in there and the silicone won't stick to the resin and then you just pull that out. I personally don't tend to use those. It's pretty easy to not get the resin in the hole as long as you don't put too much, okay? The resin we're going to use today is actually Resin Rocks. UV resin. And then must have things that you need when using resin is a silicone brush. Y'all don't judge mine. It has been through a lot and I need to clean it, but I haven't. The silicone part is clean, but this part, not so much. But that's okay. Don't worry about it. It still works. Okay, so first things first, we're going to take our resin. Also, it is important to not do this outside, and also do not do it by an open window, because any UV light coming in will definitely make your resin start curing sooner than you want it to be, than you want it to do. Okay, so we're going to take our resin and we're just going to put some in the middle. Don't be stingy with it. If you do too little of an amount of resin, you'll get waves in your resin, like basically like low spots. Okay. Also, if you put your resin in like a warm bowl of water or anything like that, that can help with bubbles too. It just kind of makes bubbles less prominent. So what we're going to do is just use our silicone brush, and we're just going to drag the resin to the edges without pushing it over the edge. So we're going to drag our resin to the edge without pushing it over the edge. Try that again. Okay. And you just want to make sure you're bringing your resin all the way to the edge as well. If not, once it starts curing, UV resin will shrink. So once it starts curing, you might see it pulling away from your edges, and that's usually because you didn't bring it all the way to the edge, or you're not using enough resin. Another thing you will need is a torch or a lighter of some sort. That will help you pop any bubbles before you cure it, especially micro bubbles. Sometimes you won't see the micro bubbles until you cure it. So it's a really good idea to hit it with some heat, and that will bring all those bubbles to the top, and they'll be able to dissipate before your resin's actually cured, instead of showing up while you're curing or after you cure. Okay, so we're at the hole right now, so we just want to go around it. That's all you got to do. Just don't push the resin into the hole. You're just going to go around the hole. Okay. And then what you want to do is just move your keychain all around, or your bad drill, your acrylic, whatever you're working on. You just want to move it all around so you can see it from different angles. Pay attention to the edges, pay attention to any big bubbles, pay attention to any missing spots, so that you can add more resin if needed, or move anything around. Now you do see a few bubbles. That's what we're going to use the torch for. Mine is just a cheap one from Dollar General. It looks like this, nothing fancy. And we're just gonna quickly go over it with a torch. Just make sure you're not burning your resin. Don't keep it in one place. You're just gonna quickly move it to get a little heat to get rid of any of those bubbles. So don't keep it on for a long time or in one place for a long time. A little bit of heat goes a long way. And I like to let it sit a second before I put it straight in the light, just in case any bubbles or anything try to pop back up. And it's a good idea to hit it with heat more than once, not just one time, because there's nothing worse than making like a cute keychain, and then one little thing just ruins it at the end. Again, all of this is homemade. There's no such thing as perfection, so that doesn't mean be too hard on yourself by any means. But whatever you can prevent, I'd like to prevent. All right. And anybody having questions about the acrylic, all the acrylics that you see me working with are available on the website. All of our acrylics come with the file that you see me using in the videos. They're all ready to go. You just have to open the SVG. Some acrylics are much easier than others. So start simple, work your way up. But I'm here to help, and we have an amazing Facebook group that are full of talented people that blow my mind every day, and they are some of the nicest people you will ever meet. So you can also join us on Facebook to learn a lot about that. All right, now before I cure this, you'll notice some of my resin fell right here, so I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to wipe that off. No big deal. I just don't want it to go on the back. Okay. That's normal. Don't freak out. That's why we have a silicone mat. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and take our light. We're going to put it over our acrylic. It's a good idea to use aluminum foil. That will bounce the UV light back in, and we're going to cure it for 3 minutes, so 60 seconds at a time at the 48 watt setting. So we'll give that 3 minutes, and then I'll get back to you. All right, so that should be done. We're going to open that up. We're going to just touch the part on our silicone mat on our brush first, so that we're not touching our actual acrylic piece right away. And then we are going to lift this up, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Super cute. I love it so much. So this is completely resined. It looks super, super nice. Let's add an a jump ring to it. Okay, let me show you how. Look, see how easy the silicone mat cleans up? So it just comes right off. Okay, so put her right there. We're gonna pick our color. Maybe we do like a minty color. I wish I had some neon, but I don't with me. Maybe the little minty color. Actually, the purple looks really cute with it. Let's do purple. Okay, so this is just a tassel. These can be found on our website also. Oh, if you want to see the back, this is what the back looks like. You can also resin this side too if you want. It's totally up to you. Not necessary, but you can if you want. Okay, so for the tassel, we're just going to put our jump ring on there like so. And that we're just going to attach to the keychain hardware. This keychain hardware is also on our website. It is amazing. It's super, super heavy duty. I really like the flat rings as opposed to the rounded ones. It's just a much better quality ring. You don't want to do like, you know, some cheap metal ring and you give it to your customer and it falls off right away, and then all that hard work is just gone just because of a bad key ring, you know. Okay, so we just twist that closed. I don't know if you can see that. So I just twisted that closed. It doesn't matter where you put it on the ring. It's all personal preference. Okay, and we're going to take another one of our jump rings, even though they're hiding from me. Oh, here they are. Another one of our jump rings. These are also for sale on the site individually, like in big packs. These are super heavy duty jump rings. They're my favorite. To put it on the acrylic, we're going to twist it open just a little bit more so that we can really get it on there. All right. We're going to thread that through the hole. We're going to attach the end of our keychain on it, and then we're just going to twist it back closed. Just be careful when doing this that you don't scratch your acrylic. UV resin isn't as strong as epoxy resin, like as far as scratching and stuff, so just be careful. Okay, and then there we go. Here's our super cute cereal bowl acrylic. Here's the front, here's the back. And again, that's just transparent glitter vinyl in the back, even though it looks like real glitter. It's just transparent glitter adhesive. Super, super adorable. You can put a name back here, phone number, whatever. But I hope y'all enjoyed, you guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please comment down below. I'll try to answer them as best as I can and as quickly as I can. But again, definitely join our Facebook group. It's a great place to interact, to meet other Zindee zombies, to get ideas and see what businesses are doing. It's super, super fun. We would love to have you. But again, y'all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all very soon. Bye.